So guys, Andrew was so happy leaving court, you can clearly see him laughing his head off to a fan for his potential release.
I was
Now, news has come out that the Bucharest Court of Appeal postponed for Wednesday, March the 29th, the ruling of the appeal of the Tate brothers, Andrew and Tristan Tate, to the court's decision to extend the preventive arrest and to reject its replacement with a measure of judicial control on bail. Guys, this is the happiest we have saw Andrew. We normally see Tristan smiling, but it's amazing to see a smile on Andrew's face and laughing back at a fan. Now, tomorrow is a big day of finding the Romanian authorities in checkmate. Holding it until tomorrow could mean they're trying to dig and find new BS evidence, but it's a huge day tomorrow, guys, so do turn our notifications on if you do want to keep in the loop. Comment your thoughts down below in the comment section. Please either like, subscribe, and we will see you tomorrow.
I wake up every day excited. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. I'll go do this today. And I very much live my life in a frame of, not I have to do this. It's very much a I get to do this. There's another thing that a lot of people make a mistake with when I talk to them, like, I have to go to work today. Change your language. I get to go to work today. Imagine you had no job. Be worse, right? Because otherwise you wouldn't be working. So you get to go to work. I have to fix the car. At least you have a car. You get to fix your car. Most people don't got one. I have to go get the kids. You get to go get the kids because you have these beautiful children who love you. You understand? People's even their own language is wrong.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make.
So it looks like tomorrow could be the day that Andrew Tate and his brother Tristan get released. And if they do, I think that would be amazing because they've been falsely imprisoned for a very, very long time. Now, what I want to say about this is that I think that it's great that they're going to get out. I hope they do a major video on it. I hope they come back with a vengeance and come back with a bang. But I want to talk about the Quarterings video on this, and just very briefly, because I watched him talk about this, and there's this thing that irritates me that content creators do, like the Quartering. I understand that he does like 20 videos a day, and so I'm not calling him lazy, because I think that that would be a mistake. But if you're going to comment on something, and you're just going to casually throw out there that, well, I don't know, he could have done this. Listen, Jeremy, he didn't do these things. Do you know how I know he didn't do these things? Do you know how I know? Because I actually looked at the evidence before I gave an opinion. I've seen the video footage. I've seen the video footage of them leaving the house the day that they said that they were not able to leave. I've seen the text messages where they talked about how they were going to extort them. So understand that when you just blurt out and belch out these ridiculous ideas like, oh, they could be guilty. They could be, God, who am I to say? Jeremy, that's fucking pathetic. That is pathetic. And I know for a fact that you, of all people, would not want individuals to go onto their platforms with massive viewers and to put out there that you may have done something. Like, for example, when you, Jeremy, were criticizing Shira, you said, I don't like the look of Shira. I don't think that that's particularly good. Do you know what they called you? I'm sure you remember. They called you a pedophile. They called you a pedophile because you didn't like the Shira redesign. Now, how would you feel, Jeremy? And be honest. Don't just say that you'd be okay with it. How would you really feel if I had a channel of, 2 million subscribers, had a huge viewing, and I just came out there and said, well, I don't know, Jeremy Hambley could be a pedophile. He could be into jacking off and pleasing himself to kids. Who can know? No, the truth is that you would be pretty pissed. You'd say, why didn't you watch my video? Why didn't you look at what I actually said? Why don't you look at what's going on? Why would you make that accusation? I know for a fact that's how you'd respond. You would not be okay with me low-key accusing you of pedophilia and feigning ignorance. And that's essentially what this situation is. When you come out there and say, well, he could do it. I mean, no, he didn't. He didn't. The reason why people are so vocal about how pissed they are is because he didn't do it. I don't give a shit what some fat blue-haired loser on Tumblr that watches furry porn of fat people, what they think. I don't care if they hate this guy because they're miserable. They're 40-something, their eggs have dried up, they're fat, they're gross, nobody likes them, they don't have a real legitimate man in their life, they don't have kids, they're miserable, and the beta males, they are constantly simping. They're 30-something, 40-something, they don't have any prospects in their life, they are fucking losers. I don't care what they think, and neither should you, Jeremy. So to give them any credence at all, like, oh, you could have done this, I don't know. Jeremy, if you're going to talk about this, do your research. It's not just for them, it's also for you, because I know that you would want somebody to do the same for you. I know that you would want somebody to do the same for you. Like, for example, when you got punched by that, I don't know, what was like a Matt Fantastic or whatever. When that guy punched you, he went out and he called you a Nazi. How would you like it, Jeremy, if I came on here and let's imagine I've got millions of subscribers, I've got a massive audience like you do, and I came on here and go, well, Jeremy could be a fascist Nazi that supports the genocides of gays and black people. He could believe that, and it's very likely that maybe he did. No, you wouldn't be okay with that, Jeremy. That's my point here. You would not be okay with somebody doing that to you. So at least, at the bare minimum, have the respect to pass that on. Now, you don't have to like the guy. I personally do. I think he's great. I think he's highly entertaining. I think he's highly charismatic. I love entertaining personalities like that. I think that he's done nothing wrong in this because I've seen the evidence, and nothing that anyone has said has been able to change that perspective and been able to change my mind, because the evidence unanimously, universally, 100% is on his side. But I'm not here to talk about him because I like him. I'm here to talk about him because what you did, in my view, was wrong. What you did was wrong, Jeremy. You talk about the news, you talk about topics. You cannot be a milquetoast fence sitter on things like this. If you want to talk about, well, Marvel, maybe it's good, maybe it's not, that's fine, but you're talking about a person's reputation here. And I've laid out multiple examples, Jeremy, where you would appreciate somebody doing the research before speaking. Is Jeremy Hambley a pedophile Nazi? Well, who's to say? Who could know? Maybe he did it, maybe he didn't. It's like, maybe he did, maybe he didn't. That's fucking nothing. That's just brain rot. Why don't you say, well, I looked it up, the evidence is pretty conclusive on this. You can say that. It's okay to say that. Now, again, if you look at the evidence and you come to a different conclusion, which, knowing you, I don't think that you would. I think you would come to the same conclusion. If you genuinely believe that he could be guilty, and you look at the evidence, then that's a different story, okay? That's a different story. But what you said is that you don't know, and you don't care, and he could be... do you understand what he's accused of, Jeremy? He's accused of grape. He's accused of trafficking women. I mean, this is not like some frivolous thing that you throw out there. This is not just some, oh, gee, golly shucks, maybe he did, he didn't. You have a duty to yourself, to your audience, and the online commentary community to do a little more research on this topic and to come out and give an opinion with your full chest. Whether you agree or not, you could look at the evidence and come to a different conclusion than me. And I would say that that's fine. You could say, you know what, I looked at the evidence and I think that maybe he did it. If you believed that, if you thought that, would I lose respect for you a little bit? Maybe. But I would at least have respect that you were willing to look and you were willing to make a statement and you were willing to go out there and put your chest out and say, this is what I believe. Instead, what you did is you commented on this because for you, it's one of 10 videos that you do in a day. You don't put any thought or research into it. You just record it and blurt it out. Meanwhile, the accusation is there. And you said, well, he could have done this. He could have done this. Jeremy, again, I use you as an example. Should I just say, well, Jeremy Hamley, yeah, he could be a fucking pedophile. How would that make you feel? Honestly, I want you to be honest. How would you feel if I made a video, again, with a huge audience? I don't have a huge audience. If I had a huge audience and I was talking about people who were accusing you of being a fucking pedophile. Now, I don't know about you, Jeremy, but for me, there's not much lower than you can go. Pedophiles are, for me, the trigger point, literally and figuratively. So, I don't know about you, but I would hope that anyone with that type of platform would do the research to say definitively, hey, I've looked at this, Jeremy Hamley is not a pedophile. Not in any way. He just has an opinion on She-Ra that, maybe I agree with, maybe I don't, whatever. But you would put that out there. That was the thing about this video that irritated me, Jeremy. You tried to play this sort of, well, I don't really care about Andrew Tate. I don't really like him. I'm only interested in the law. Jeremy, there's more important things than just the letter of the law. There's the spirit of the law, which I think is also pretty important. But more than that, there's character and integrity. And like in my examples, where I'm reacting to something that happened to you, like this, dress-wearing fairy who punched you because he called you a Nazi. If I were to do a video in front of a large audience saying, well, is Jeremy Hamley a Nazi? Well, I don't know. I mean, he's accused of it and there's a lot of evidence, so I can't really say, that he's not a Nazi. He very well could be a Nazi. He very well could have, fascistic view. Who can say really? It seems like if there's smoke, there's fire. If I started to sort of do this weasel thing that you did, I bet you'd be pretty pissed, and understandably so. Because you should be honest. You should be upfront. You say, look, I haven't done any of the research on this topic. I'm just commentating because it's one video in a list of things that I need to cover. But here's the evidence. Here's what's happening tomorrow. Keemstar said that he's going to be released, and then leave it at that. If you don't have the time or the patience or the interest to talk about what he is alleged to have done and the fact that he's innocent, then don't talk about it at all. You don't even need to bring it up. You could just do a video on the fact that it's a potential release tomorrow. And talk about that for 10 minutes or 11 minutes or, whatever it takes to trigger, the YouTube ads. But that's my issue, Jeremy, is that whoever it is, and whether you're doing a video criticizing somebody or whether you're praising them, or whether you agree or disagree, at the bare minimum, you should do the research to make sure that what you're saying is not going to leave a negative imprint on somebody who watches this. Now, thankfully, I imagine that there's a large portion of your audience that likes Andrew Tate like I do. So I don't know that they're going to take it a certain way. But that's still leaving a lot up to chance. Putting out there that potentially he could have done this is the same thing as me saying potentially Jeremy Hambley is a pedophile because somebody else accused him of being a pedophile. The women that accused him, they're liars. We have the evidence to prove that they're liars. The text messages saying what they were going to do, that they were going to exploit these two. We have the evidence. We have the facts. And if you didn't watch them, if you didn't read up on it, and you're implying that he could be guilty, Jeremy, you're essentially giving validity to the accusation that he could be a rapist and a trafficker, which he is absolutely not, according to the evidence. He didn't kidnap them, didn't force them in the home. He did not grape them. It's part of the text messages. They were going to accuse him of this stuff. So, yeah, a little bit longer than I would have liked to go on about Jeremy's particular video, but, I think it's important. So, about Andrew Tate getting released. I think it's a huge celebration if he gets out. I think it's a huge win. Because I'm very much in favor of his content. I think he's hilarious. I think he's funny. I think that he's charismatic. And I think that he says a lot of things that are true and need to be said. There's a lot of validity in what he says and what he is trying to instill into men. Which you're not getting that from Twitch streamers and other people online. You're just not. He's saying, it's not good enough to just be how you are now. You should improve. You should go to the gym. You should, sharpen your mind. You should become formidable. Not just stagnate and sit as you are. Become somebody that, is worthy of having a high-value woman. Somebody who is worthy of having a family. And passing down his seed to future generations. I think all of that is incredibly helpful. And it needs to be said. I know that people like Moist Critical have said, well, this is fairly basic information. It's not, unfortunately. Too many online content creators are part of this left-wing echo chamber that really plays these games with what words mean and gives this, pacified version of the world. And, you can be any gender you want. Oh, it's okay if you're fat. Oh, it's okay if you're unattractive. Oh, it's okay if you're poor. Just donate more money to me. And Andrew Tate's thing is, no, it's not okay. You should improve yourself. I think that's a great message. I think that is very, very important. Set goals for yourself. I watched the Fresh and Fit podcast because I think that they do a lot of good work. And you can say whatever you want about them, but the host of Fresh and Fit, Myron, he says something that I think is so important to young men, and that is that in the relationship, you can be the prize. You have to work for it. You have to earn it. But it's not the girl who's the prize. It's you as the man who's the prize. You have to get to that point. You have to be in shape. You have to have money. You have to have your shit together. But if you do, in the relationship, you could be the one that's valued. And it's your preferences that are respected. I think that is tremendous. And more young men need to hear it. And so I don't have this irrational hatred of Andrew Tate and certain people. I may laugh at cucks like what's his name, Jack Murphy, and people like him. But the truth is that Andrew Tate is somebody that delivers a very charismatic, very interesting message that I think a lot of men need to hear, and I think that it's important for them to get out and to celebrate and to come back stronger than ever. And to show young men that no matter what happens, you could be thrown in prison. But if you have your wits about you, if you have a strong mind and a strong spirit, that you can come back, you can come out better than ever. You can come out and be a strong individual that doesn't let this incident crush and destroy you. I think that would be a great message and a great thing for young men. Anyway, that's all I have to say about this. I will keep everyone updated as to what happens next. Tomorrow, if Andrew Tate gets out, I'll do another video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.